we will look into Sons of Ben. Now, as I mentioned that over here, the Cavalier poets are called the tribe of Ben, and the Sons of Ben are basically a group of dramatists who followed the Johnsonian technique in drama. They were all playwrights, right? The Cavalier poets are generally referred to, but this has been used so interchangeably in so many places that I have seen. So I'll find that the practitioners or the sons of Ben that basically will gather in taverns, and there are almost 11 of them, 11 playwrights, and their followers. They congregated at London taverns, especially the Apollo Room in the Devil Tavern near Temple Bar. And above the mantelpiece in this room, Johnson inserted a marble slab engraved with his leges convivials, or rules of conviviality, of enjoyment, right? These were Johnson's rule for the group. They were written in Latin. They were modeled on Horace and Martial. And I'll give you just a second. This is the leges convivials, the rules for the Tavern Academy. They're very the rules are very funny. Most of them are funny. There's rule number 14, which is a little serious. It says that let none of things serious, much less of divine, when belly and heads fully profanely dispute. And then there are very jesting rules as let no scent offensive the chamber infest, right? So look at the main practitioners over here. They are Richard Brome, Thomas Nabbles, Henry Glapthron, Sir William Davenant, who is known for his work on the bird, and William Cartwright, Shackley Marmion, Jasper Maine, Pater Hosted. Thomas Randolph is somewhat well known. His work Aristippus, or the jovial philosopher and the conceited peddler, and we also have William Cavendish. Having said so, I would also like to draw your attention towards these two people, Nathan Field and Richard Brome. So Johnson's reputation as a man of letters also made him a model to young writers, right? So he exemplified the emerging role of the author as legitimate professional rather than hack, and his poetry and plays were widely imitated. Two playwrights in particular possessed quasi-filial ties to him, okay? Nathan Field and Richard Brome. And Johnson said that Ned Field, was his scholar, and he has read to him the satires of Horace and some epigrams of Martial. This suggests that some of Field's education took place under Johnson. So we're trying to justify that why they are also a part of Sons of John. However, Johnson does not call him son, like adopted in the sense adopted the method and methodology of his drama, right? Basically amused by Ben Jonson. And Field's own comedies are only incidentally Johnsonian in manner, but in Richard Brome is more explicitly imitated Johnson's style, especially his eccentrically humorous characters, very much Johnsonian. Brome literally grew up under Johnson, for he worked in his house as servant. And maybe the man who grew up under maybe the man in inviting a friend to supper is commanded to read out Latin prose extracts at the table. Brome's career shows how easily friendship and Johnson could shade into rivalry. Right, this is one very important aspect of Johnson. So in 1629, what happens, his first play, Brome's first play, The Lovesick Maid, was a big success at the Blackfriars Playhouse in the same season that Johnson's The New Inn flopped disastrously. So it flopped. So in a vitriolic ode to himself, the wounded poet poured scorn on the audience's taste, disparaging Brome's sweepings, the fragments that Brome, whose name was pronounced as Broom, had cleaned up from his table. So Johnson later made amends though with the poem praising Brome's first printed play, The Northern Lass. Even so, he calls him my old servant, my old faithful servant, not my son. Which is, no. So you see that it's later on. It's basically later on that the critics have kind of made these classifications of sons of Ben and everything. He himself is not. These are basically as followers, basically people who are absolutely in awe of Johnsonian methodology and Johnson's own aura. Right? They are the people, like they will meet and then they talk. They will praise Johnson, because if somebody surpasses him, as you see in case of Mr. Richard over here, Johnson can get very nasty. So this classification of tribe of Ben and sons of Ben have been done much later. Nothing as such, he did not adopt them as such, and that's not why they are called the sons of Ben. They are followers of Johnson, just like in tribes of Ben, the poets are followers, but they practice poetry, whereas these group of 11 playwrights, they practice writing plays. So with this, I have come to the end of today's lecture. I hope that I have been able to impart some knowledge, and I hope that I have not cramped up a lot of information in this module of 2 hours. Okay. Yes, Dr. Shoykar Banerjee, I am done with my presentation over here.
Yeah, thank you. May I request the participants to please put forward the question? The chat box is open, I'm sure. You might raise your hand also, and you might ask the question directly to our resource person. You might raise your hand, or you can type in the chat box. The chat box is also open. We dealt about the metaphysical, the sons of Ben, and the tribe of Ben. I just wanted to know, there's always this confusion, and last time also there was this question, and you put it very simply in a layman's language. What is the basic difference? Now also you discussed, but I think some of the students should pay attention from net perspective. What is the basic difference? Sons of Ben and tribes of Ben.
From the net perspective, let the students, associate tribe of Ben with the Cavalier poets and sons of Ben with the 11 playwrights, right?
Right. Fine.
Just from the net perspective, because they are mostly interchangeably used in every.
Yeah, sometimes it becomes confusing, I guess.
Yes, it becomes very confusing. And I would also urge, people like to go back actually and read the metaphysical, the duns that I have, the examples from duns that I've used. So once you actually read it, and then I'm sure Dr. Banerjee will supply you with the PPT as well that we discussed. The recording, they do get the recordings, right?
No, we don't share it. We don't share the PPT. However, we share the resource materials, the research papers or the PDFs, which is being shared by our resource person. We forward it in a group. We don't share PPT because spoon feeding we somehow don't promote. So
just if you remember, what the different aspects of metaphysical poetry that I was discussing, and if you can just quickly go through, so you will remember it. It will not vanish from your head. So if you do it right after the lecture, it will be most effective. That's what I have actually understood.
Right.
Again, I'm very sorry, too many information in very limited period of time, so it can be a little, boring at times.
I would also urge you, if you feel that you have any e-materials on it, you can forward it to us. I will forward it to the group.
Absolutely, I'll do that. I will from the resources from where I have taken, right. I will also give, and it's not that I am talking about only the metaphysical poets, and but there's so many interesting things about the metaphysical poets, the features about it, that I'll really urge, and the YouTube thing of Annie Finch's, the 16 line reply to his coy mistress. It is so interesting when I learned about it. So you can you just can simply go to YouTube and Annie Finch's reply to his choir mistress, and you will find it. The reading is wonderful, much better than probably I have done. So you can do it. You can go and check that out as well.
Right. Nilesh, you can unmute yourself and ask the question. Nilesh, you can unmute yourself and ask the question. Yes, you can go ahead. Nilesh. You are not audible. Sonali Saini says that please suggest some other minor poets of metaphysical from the point of view of this examination.
Which examination are they talking about?
Our main target is net and set.
Compare the poem to poem. Tell the name of the poem. I'm sorry, I'm not being able to understand. But ma'am, you compared the poem to his poem mistress to a poem. I did not compare. I just said that there is a reply when I was reading to his choir mistress. When if you read to his choir mistress, you will find that the choir mistress is actually not replying anything. There is no reply from the mistress's side of it. There is this poet, American poet called Annie Finch, and she replied with 16 line reply to his. It's almost like a sequel to it. So you can go and find Annie Finch's reply to his choir mistress. And
religious or Christian significance is specific to metaphysical poetry.
Okay, so in Donne you will find that there in Donne, then and other Vaughan, also Henry Vaughan, you will find many religious and Christian significance to it. So I have not actually discussed that's because of the restriction of time, but I would suggest that you, if you read these two poets, you will find that as well. Even in Donne, I think some of the I've given it through some of the examples, but again. Okay, so the peculiar characteristics of Ben Jonson. What are the Johnsonian characters famous for? Boisterousness, right? Isn't that so? So you will find, and humor, dry humor, right? The sarcasm, right? So when you there's very less chance that one will actually read a play by one of the sons of Ben. So these are the few features that the sons of Ben also follow, right? The Johnsonian sarcasm that he was very famous for, right? So those are the things, those are the peculiar characteristics that the sons of Ben and the tribes of Ben follow.
Well, I think with that we come to the end of a very engaging and enriching session. I'm sure the participants have enjoyed it. They have the testimony to the fact is the congratulatory messages that you can see in the chat box. It's always a pleasure to have you on this platform, and it's young academic scholars like you all who gives us this impetus to move on with these back-to-back lecture series, and these barriers we are able to overcome because of the support that we get from the resource person as well as the participants as well. So it was an absolute pleasure and honor to have you. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward again to have you on this platform. Thank you. Please take care. Good night.
With the platform. So, a very big cheer and a shout out to you.
Good night.
Good night.